My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey there, folks. Let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever fixed up a property to flip it, to sell it? Have you ever done a burr on a property and you really want to kind of bring it up to the next level? Or are you looking for different ways, if you're in development, to create a really, really attractive product that gets you the best bang for your buck? Well, if you are, or if you're thinking about doing this in the future, today's guest, Cody Caswell, zooming in all the way from beautiful Austin, Texas, is the guy you definitely want to pay attention to. Cody is a very experienced real estate entrepreneur, comes from a real estate investing family. I believe he did his first deal at age 16, which is before a lot of us even had our driver's licenses, for crying out loud. And he's done 50 plus deals since then. But what I find really interesting about his story is how he has combined he and his wife's other skill set, which is making properties pretty through really good design and interior design, with active real estate investing and being able to make their own properties super attractive and help other real estate investors make their properties attractive as well. So, Cody, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Hey, I'm curious. All right. We were talking a little bit offline about you getting started at age 16, coming from a real estate investing family. Maybe tell us a little bit about that first deal and how you got that done at such a young age. And then fast forward to now and let us know, what are you focusing on? What does real estate investing look like for you today?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've done a lot of different things within real estate investing, and now we're kind of like settling into our niche. So it's very cool to actually have spent the time to do that. But anyways, the first deal was a mobile home. I had about $5,000 saved up when I was 16, and that was from working odd jobs with my grandpa or working friends and anybody, just every bit of money I made up to 16, I put away and saved. And whenever I was 16 years old, I was thinking about going and putting a down payment on a new truck. And my dad gave me the advice of, hey, why don't you go put that on a rental property and have the income pay for the new truck?
Oh, that sounds like some rich dad, poor dad advice.
It was some great rich dad, poor dad advice. And he left it up to me to make the decision, and left it up to me to find the deal too. So the only thing that a 16-year-old can legally put in their name is a mobile home. So whenever I went to middle school, it was a small town where I actually went to school in general. And there was a mobile home park that I would pass every day. And it had about 100 trailers inside of it. Definitely was not the Taj Mahal. It was, not a great looking place, but I knew I could probably have a high likelihood of buying something in there because everything was pretty run down. So
Yeah.
I went and I dropped a note in the mailbox of everybody's mailbox in the front. And I just said, hey, my name is Cody Caswell. I'm looking to get into real estate investing. If you would consider selling your mobile home, please give me a call at, my phone number. And sure enough, somebody called. It wasn't about his mobile home, but it was the one that he had next door. He owned it, and he had always planned to fix it up and rent it out himself. Never got around to it, and said, you know what? I'm going to be the first person to help you in the real estate investing journey. So Sure enough, I bought it for $3,500 cash, and I did not own the land. I only owned the mobile home. Bought it for $3,500 cash. I put $1,500 into it, which was,
the rest of your cash.
It was bare minimum. The rest of my cash, I was hiring buddies of mine for $25 a day to come and help me out painting and do whatever we could do. And when it was done, it actually looked pretty nice. And we ended up renting it out for $665 a month. My lot rent was $165, and then my insurance was about $50 a month. So I was cash flowing about $450 a month as a 16-year-old, and that was kind of like the light bulb moment for me. And then
were you able to get that pickup truck after that? Where you did?
I did. I got it a few years later though, so I ended up saving a few years later for it, and I did get it a few years later. And I kept that mobile home for probably 5 or 6 years. And when I sold it, I actually sold it for $10,000, so I doubled my money, and I had all the cash flow throughout the years. And honestly, I would have expected it to fall apart, but it actually held together pretty well. So the deal did pretty good for us.
Oh,
That was
that
kind
is
of my light
awesome.
bulb moment. And fast forward through, 10 years of doing deals and meeting mentors, going to all the meetups and being with everybody. I've done large multifamily deals. We've done small multifamily deals. We flipped a lot of homes. We have done a lot of single family burrs, and kind of our business now at 27 is we're kind of finding a groove that we're really good at flipping homes. Our processes are really good for it. We're a lot better at least in our current our current business, we're a lot better at selling the property rather than like managing it through the process of owning it. We found that we're not great managers because when we're done, we typically like to leave it and go to the next project.
Yeah.
And that's just our style. We've
Yeah.
gotten good at that. So um my wife, she found an eye for interior design a few years ago, and she put in her 30,000 hours to get incredible at it. She worked at a couple of design firms, and we found there was a gap between real estate investors. When a general contractor who does $5 million projects does an actual construction project, they're extremely well organized, very well planned. Everything is set out from A to Z. And real estate investors in the single family world, especially, we typically just shoot from the hip. We're just kind of rolling along and
Wing
doing the
it.
project
We're
as we
winging
go.
it. Yep.
Yeah, we're just winging it. So we took those processes that $1 million GCs use, and we broke that down into its simplest form to be able to hand it to a real estate investor and to give them a plan, full design plan for their home. And it just really shortens up the timeline of a real estate investor to be able to flip a house from probably 90 days to about 45. So it shortens your timeline about 50%, and it really makes your property turn out so much nicer. So built this interior design business to design for real estate investors across the country while we flip homes throughout Central Texas.
Very cool. So I love how you combined your wife's skill set with what you guys are doing for your own properties and now being able to offer that to other folks. So I'm just kind of curious. So if somebody's doing a flip, what is like your virtual design service kind of look like? How does that work?
All right, yeah, I'll talk you through the condensed client journey.
Yeah.
So whenever you buy the property, you'll basically submit us a lot of photos of every room, the entire exterior, give us a real look at the project, and you'll give us about a 10-minute video walkthrough of just walking around the house, describing to us what's in your budget. So, hey, we are changing out all the cabinets in this kitchen. We'll have new cabinets and countertops. We'll go into the bathroom. So I might say, hey, we're going to keep the bathtub, but we're going to change all the tile around it. Just give us a real description of everything you're doing in the property. And then from that, you submit it to us with the property address. We will go on Zillow and look at the type of homes that are selling in the market. Like, what's the buyer doing over there, right?
Right.
Is it your first time home buyer over there? Are they 34 or are they 26? Because that buyer is going to want a different type of home. We take a look at the architectural style of the house and the existing elements, say, hey, what can we repurpose and bring up to today while like keeping the original charm? Or is it a mid-century, like a mid-century roof line? Does it have farmhouse aspects? And we'll kind of use that to build our design. So from those photos, video walkthroughs, we'll build the full design plan. So it's going to be about 20-page PDF of every room throughout the house. We're going to give you all of the materials that we source for the home. It's going to be your flooring, your tiles, your paint colors, your cabinet hardware, door hardware, everything you can imagine is going to go into that design board presentation. So we'll give you a 20-page PDF. It's going to have all of those materials and products through every room. We'll go through, we'll talk about, hey, this tile may not meet your budget, or hey, we might do something different, or maybe you don't like a light fixture here or there. The beauty of investors, that typically as investors, they trust us because they just want the home to sell for as much money as possible. It's not like your own house where you care so much about each and every little aspect. You just want buyers to like it. You don't really care if you like it so much. So that's a really good thing. We find our investors mostly just say, hey, whatever you guys think is going to make it sell for more sounds great to us. We have a lot of case studies and a lot of proof of our work. So most people just say, hey, rock and roll. So after we do that, we approve all the products. We will build your finish schedule, which is the true product of this. It's a 12-page Excel spreadsheet. It's got about 200 product links on it. And that's going to give you every product that goes in the house. It gives you the location, the manufacturer, it gives you the link to the product, it gives you all the pricing structures and the price of it and everything. Helps you budget. And this is basically the sheet that you can take and give directly to your general contractor and say, this is our design plan for the house and execute this. And then the idea is that after you give them that, you don't have to make any more decisions. Everything for the house is done. There might be one or two things that pop up, but 95% of the decisions that are made for that house are already going to be on that finished schedule. So as the investor, it gives you two great things. It gives you accountability to your contractor. So he has a full plan. There's no miscommunication. So if he does something wrong, you can point to where he went wrong. And it's usually from people just not looking at the finish schedule, just contractors being contractors. And then the second thing that it does is it holds your contractor accountable to his pricing. So since we are sourcing all of your products, you have all of the product pricing right in front of you. And you can prevent him from him charging 20% up on your materials, things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's huge. So a couple of questions come to mind. One would be sourcing of the products. So you're putting links into the different products and where they're at and all that kind of stuff. So does this work for somebody that's in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska? Does it work for somebody that's downtown Miami? Works the same for somebody in Chicago, like different areas, different products, or they kind of ship to them from anywhere in the States?
So yeah, we source most of our products from four major retailers: Lowe's, Home Depot, Floor and Decor, Amazon. Those four. It's going to have 95% of the products. Sometimes there might be a weird something that we have to get from Ferguson or somewhere like that. But most of our materials come from those four main suppliers, which you can get anywhere in the continental U.S. So
Okay.
even if you do, like, say, some towns don't have floor and decor. That's one problem that we come across. People say, well, there's no floor and decor in my city. Well, floor and decor is probably within 100 miles of you and they ship anywhere. So we just tell people from the start, hey, make sure that these materials you're ordering in advance, make sure that you're not ordering the day before you need them, plan a little bit and give yourself a 2-week timeline to make sure that these tiles come in, your flooring comes in. But
Yeah, that
when
makes
you
sense.
source from those four major retailers, you can get them anywhere in the US.
Well, I think your process is brilliant, Cody. That is, I mean, for you and your wife, I mean, it's so nice. You're not confined to only working with people in Austin. You can go anywhere virtually, and you've figured out the big four where 90+% of everything you need is going to be located from. So easy to plug and play those different things that you're going to recommend. And then from your client's point of view, yeah, just that whole idea of not having to make those damn decisions. You just
Yeah.
look at the plan that you guys set up. Say, yeah, I like how that looks. Looks great. These guys know what they're doing. They're flippers themselves. This is the kind of stuff they're doing in their own properties. It takes so much pressure off of anybody, but especially newer flippers that really don't know much about what they're doing just yet. This would be a huge help. So how I'm just curious, how did you guys come up with this whole thing and how long have you been doing it for?
So we've been doing it for just over a year now. The way that we came up for it was my wife was working at luxury interior design firms here in Austin. And you know, we just saw a disconnect, honestly, between the way that I did projects and the way that these multi-million dollar general contractors did projects.
Yeah.
They're so much more organized. And, I started looking at my own processes. I said, if I want to run a multi-million dollar company, this has to look like a multi-million dollar company. You can't
Yeah.
just run it shooting from the hip. You can't run it making decisions on the fly, things like that. You have to go into these projects with a plan. You have to have a real process. And we took what those multi-million dollar GCs were doing and we just sort of applied it to what we were doing. Started saying, okay, well, on our projects, what if we just started doing this? And our timeline to finish projects went from about 90 days to 30 days. And
Wow.
that was just incredible. I could start a project and only visit it maybe once a week if I wanted to see a project update, because everything that I needed to order was just clicking from the computer. I didn't have to go to Lowe's and pick light fixtures. I didn't have to go to Home Depot and go get doors or anything like that. Everything was just click and order. So we started, thinking about this. So, a lot of investors could probably use this service.
Yeah.
So a few referrals happened right off the bat whenever we started saying that, I put it out to my local network, said, hey, look, Sarah's been working in luxury firms for years. And she designed all of my flips from, 5 years back to now. So she's always been incredible at making something look beautiful at an investor's price. That's what we say is designed by investors for investors.
Yeah.
Our idea is not to go and spend money. Like it's one thing to make a beautiful house, but it's another thing to make a beautiful house that makes money. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a tagline right there for
yeah,
sure.
that's our thing is like we've got to make beautiful houses that make money.
Yeah.
So, everything we do is try to look at it from the investor's perspective. And after a few referrals, the process we refined it and refined it. And we just went to market with it and it's been great, great. It's been
Yeah.
fantastic. We have two main clients, at least for now, that we see. We have the first time investor who doesn't know a lot and they want the help to guide them through the process as well as the design.
Right.
And then you have the very experienced investor who values their time enough to not pick light fixtures, who sees their time is finding deals. That's where you should be spending your time, not designing the flips that you buy. They should be spending their time sourcing more deals. So, two great clients that we have.
Well, and the other thing, I don't have any experience doing flips, buy, fix, and sell. I'm as handy as a foot, so I've kind of stayed away
Mhm.
from that. But the other thing I see being a huge value here is the fact that it simplifies everything for your contractors. Because I've interviewed a gazillion flippers, and that's usually one of their big complaints is crappy work done by their contractors and delays and yada yada, and starting one job and then going to another one and all this kind of stuff. So if you're able to simplify the process for them, the likelihood of them coming through and doing a good job rises exponentially. If you're able to streamline it so it happens a lot faster. So bottom line is, whatever they're probably not charging you by the hour necessarily. They're charging you by the job. If they can get that done in 30 days instead of 90 days, win-win for everybody, right?
It is, yeah. And the contractors aren't responsible for miscommunications because they don't want to do something wrong. They're not intentionally doing something wrong, but if you don't give them clear
Yeah.
directions, typically they're going to just do whatever they think is right. And then, they don't want you coming back in a few days and, biting their head off because they did something wrong when you weren't clear on your instructions.
That's
Um,
probably a
we,
huge problem, right? Is that lack
it's
of clarity,
huge.
miscommunications all the time.
Absolutely. This
Yeah.
this eliminates all miscommunications between you and the contractor. So we work with a lot of builders and developers too,
Oh yeah.
and that's probably their favorite thing is that, and their contractors are so thankful when they bring us on board too, because the last thing they want to do is like the contractors are builders. They're not designers. They don't want to
Yeah.
design. They don't want to guess what you want, and they don't want to be calling you trying to figure out what you need. They want to walk into projects with a plan because, like you said, the quicker they get it done, the more money they make.
Yeah.
So it's really like a benefit to everybody to where the contractor has his plan and he doesn't have to worry. The investor has his plan to hold his contractor accountable, has the pricing of the products beforehand. It's a win-win for everybody that, it's been a great beneficial product for the whole real estate investing community that we work with.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm just curious because your wife sounds like she's got a ton of experience with this. I would imagine that she can, well, there's still a lot of work involved with putting one of these plans together. Like you're going through room by room, looking at photos, looking at the videos. I'm sure she's got a pretty good idea of well, then you're doing research in the local area, seeing what's selling well, what's looking good, what appeals to people, and then putting that all in together to come up with a plan for, it's not a cookie cutter approach by any stretch.
Correct. Yeah, it's not very cookie cutter. However, the process of doing each project is the same.
Yeah,
So
that's
since
cookie
the
cutter. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I
So
should.
what we've been able to do is we've been able to build this product where it's a flat rate price. So we do pricing on your square footage amount. That way, if you're running the numbers on a deal, you know what it costs to bring us in and actually design it. Because charging hourly,
Yeah,
real estate investors historically hate anybody who charges hourly, as do I. I get it.
yeah, yeah,
And then B, you just can't budget it. As a developer, as a builder, as an investor, you have to budget everything you do. All of it matters on the budget. So we broke it down to how we can actually charge flat rate pricing on this. And breaking the process down and getting it really cookie cutter to where it's the same thing every time. We've condensed our timelines down to where we know just about how many hours it's going to take, depending on if there's something a little different with this one or whatever. It might take an hour or two more, but we pretty much have it broken down where we know how many hours it can take. And we give you a price based on the hours it's going to take, based on your square footage, but we know about how many hours that project's going to take us. And then,
because you've done enough of them, you know what's involved. Just out of
exactly.
curiosity, you said you're working with a lot of developers these days as well. So developers building single family homes, multifamily homes, both?
Single family, but multifamily would work as well, especially townhomes, because there's usually a model, right?
Yeah.
We could build the model for you. So say you come to us and say, hey, we're building 8 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom, 800 square foot houses on, doing an infill. Say you're doing an infill development.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can build your model and then you can rearrange the model however you want. So if you want this one to look a little different, whatever, like you can take our initial design that will charge you whatever the cost is for an 800 square foot townhome. We'll build your design and then you take that and go implement it across your project. So a lot of investors will do that too. They'll get us to design, say you do a lot of the same type of home. Well, you don't need us to design every one of them.
Right.
You just get us to get one design and then you own the design after that. And then you can go and multiply it however many times you want.
That. No, that's
Exactly.
beautiful.
So for developers, especially, like doing a 200 unit apartment complex, can't do something like that. That's, you got to bring on real multifamily design teams. But for this, it's especially good for this small developer who's doing infill lots in particular. It really works well for infill developers.
Yeah, very, very cool. My goodness, Cody, time flies when we're having fun, and this has been a fascinating conversation. Hats off to you and your wife. You've come up with a brilliant service that I can just see huge value here for the flippers, the developers, everybody. A good business for you, directly ties into what your strengths are, your background is. So it's a perfect harmony there. Yeah, very, very impressed. So
Thank
if
you.
people want to connect with you and find out more, where should they go? What should they do?
Best place is Instagram. You can go to our Instagram at ivoryhome.co, so ivoryhome.co, and go on there. Our website's linked in there, and you can see all of our designs. You can see a lot about the process of what we do. So if you're curious to learn a little bit more about how it actually all falls into place, go there, watch a lot of our reels and stuff, and you'll be able to kind of watch us work with clients and see how it all turns out.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, take care. Talk to you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.